Hey guys, Siberian Husky fan. I just wanted to make this intro because I didn't expect to be cutting this up into two parts. But this is going to be my Pokemon collection part 2. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Now we have Gen 4, which is where I started really keeping up with Pokemon. Now I will say this, I did play Red when I was a kid. I still have the copy cartridge of Red still to this day. But that was my cousin's copy, and he gave that to me when I was in like ninth grade anyways. So I played that when I was like 5 whenever my aunt would try and pull me away from him playing James Bond and whatever else on the PlayStation 2. So I didn't really officially start really getting into Pokemon until I got my own DS and games for it, and that was Pokemon Diamond. And this is still the original Pokemon Diamond I've had since Christmas of 2007. And I still have the game cartridge and everything. This game just is so nostalgic, but it is so slow when I go back to play it. I'm like, I just want to play Platinum. So, this is the back going over everything. I won't try and pull it out, but that's the original game cartridge. And I don't believe they usually had them numbered. Look at how many scratches are on it from me just throwing it in whenever I did at the time. So here's the instruction booklet. Instruction booklets back then were so freaking huge, and I loved looking at the pictures and everything. Here's the back with the main two characters, the male and female, and then your rival, Barry. Here is the Battle Revolution, which is one of the worst games for Pokemon on the Wii. And then we have the Nintendo Power ad before they completely went kaput. But with these old cases here, you could fit Game Boy Advance cartridges in here. That's what this slot is here for. Which is also how you modify these cases, these DS cases, to hold Game Boy games. So there's Diamond. Then we have Pearl, which I ended up getting years later. I didn't end up getting this whenever it came out. I got this years later for Christmas, like 2 or 3 years ago. But I replayed it, and yeah, it is pretty slow. That's why the game's not in here. But it's the same thing, the instruction manual. Here's the Nintendo Power Manual, the Battle Revolution, and that's the Nintendo DS Health and Safety Precautions book. That's what all of these came with until they started getting less and less. So this was 2007, I believe. Yes, 2007. There it is. So then, I think it was 2009. So 2 years later, they brought out the re-release of Platinum. And this was what pretty much everyone was asking for, is a slightly faster game, and you get to go to the underworld to go find Giratina. But there's the front of it. I didn't get this new either, but I will say someone had an old save file on there that I stole a lot of his Pokemon from. So a kid named Justin, sorry, but a lot of your Pokemon are now mine. Same thing with the old Game Boy Advance. Look at this. This is how old this game is. This was a note of me trying to trade Pokemon with my one friend. And I have all the Pokemon listed in here that I wanted. Can I get it? On an old notebook piece of paper. I couldn't even spell the Pokemon's names right at the time. Houndoom, Arcanine. Look, I spelled Eevee with one E. That kills me. But look at all this. That was from 2009. So here's the instructions manual. There's the Nintendo Club Nintendo there. Not Nintendo Power anymore. And here's the manual. Still colorful and huge. And then what I have up here actually is a sealed Platinum. I'm dead serious. It's still sealed to this day. And I have not opened it. Still has the game in there and everything. Brand new. I just felt like sharing this because I had found it on eBay, I think for $30. And I was like, what's the catch? Because they've been making a lot of fake ones. And I looked at it. It's real.
I looked at all the wording and everything because I've seen fake ones, and this is a legit sealed copy of Platinum, by the way. All the wording is correct, everything. It blew my mind, the fact that someone was selling it for 30 to 40 bucks, and I don't know. Then, my favorite Pokemon games of all time, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which were remakes of Gold and Silver. And, some of them are missing their Pokewalkers because my one friend was like, can I borrow it for Halloween one year? And I was like, am I ever going to get that Pokewalker back? And he's like, haha, no. And I'm like, you're a dick. So, some of these are missing the Pokewalker. But this is what it looked like in 2010 when it released. I was in 9th grade almost. I almost graduated I almost finished 9th grade. So, here's what it looked like when you opened it. It was $40 new whenever you got it new in 2010. I'm sorry. And this was the case. And this was the box that had the Pokewalker and the clip to it. Now, I don't have the clip, but I do have the Pokewalker in there. It does need a new battery, but that is the Pokewalker. And then, this is important. Do not immerse the Pokewalker accessory in liquid. No duh. But this is also a manual for the Pokewalker as well. Then, everything else you needed was in here. And look, it even has a picture for you telling you it's for a Game Boy Advance. They had to get to the point of, here's a picture, dummies. But it's the same thing, the manual and the Club Nintendo and all that fun stuff. And like I said, I have extras of the game because these are my favorite games, so I wanted to replay them. So the person who sold me this one made a picture of Lugia, and I still have it, and it's awesome. This one I did not pay 110 bucks for. Actually, I paid 80 bucks for this copy, but yeah, that's how much someone had bought it for at the time, and I was like, no, not by me, you're not. But it's the same thing with Heart Gold. Just, different Pokemon, different legendaries. You can still get Lugia just a little bit later, but it's the same thing. So, alright, so that is Gen 4 for the Nintendo DS. We are still on the Nintendo DS line, but we are going to be moving up to Gen 5 now. Alright, so now we are looking at Gen 5, the year 2011, for these two games of Pokemon Black and White. This was the first time I went into a completely new generation where they just threw me into the game and I had no old Pokemon I could run after. I had to completely learn it from scratch with all new Pokemon, and I was completely fine with that, actually. A lot of people complained about Gen 5. I actually liked Gen 5, to be honest with you. I liked a lot of the new Pokemon, and I loved the starters, minus Snivy. That was pretty much a kick in the face. I loved that one, and it turns out it's crappy. So, I originally got Pokemon Black, and a couple months later I got White. And then, these I didn't even get new. These I got, like, a couple years later because, there was an event going on with getting shiny, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. So, I ended up getting Pokemon Black, too, for it. And then I eventually played it and loved it to the point that I said, alright, get White, too. And I did. So, those came out my senior year in, 2012. But, these... I got this one originally, and look, it even has the guide from when Victini was originally started with it. So, if you remember this, you remember Victini. But that's the manual, and it's got the Club Nintendo in there and everything, but that is what the cartridge looks like. I just wanted to show you what it looked like with the Victini event in it, because that's when it first came out. Then White is just normal. And they got rid of the Game Boy Advance cartridge places. So trying to modify these ones were a bit more difficult. But Then we have Black 2 here, which has its cartridge. And funny enough, when I bought this is for the Genesect event from when it started. So whoever gave me this one got it when it first came out, because that was the Genesect event. And then White 2 here also. Let me see how much I paid for this. I paid $25.19 for this game back a couple years ago. But here is the back of Black 2. And here's the back of just regular Black there. So that is Gen 5. It added, I think, 100 plus different new Pokemon. And then Gen 6 was the most lackluster when it came to new Pokemon. They only added 50. So next we're going to go to Gen 6 on the 3DS system. Next we have is Generation 6, which came out in the years 2013 and 2014. So when these games were announced, I completely flipped. I was in my senior year. It was January 2013. I was just about to graduate high school, and they announced the new Pokemon games. I was losing it because I had to get a whole new system to play these on, because I still had my DS Lite I was playing all these games on. So I had to upgrade, and I upgraded to a Pikachu 3DS system that I unboxed on this channel years ago for this game right here. Now, I did get this one a couple months later, but it was after the fact of the Mega Torchic event. So here's the pamphlet from when you could get Torchic and be able to get the Mega Torchic. Here's the inside for ads of Pokemon Rumble U, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Gates to Infinity, the guide, and this is Pokemon.com. But the back tells you how to get the Torchic back in the day. This was the game, and as you can see, the game cartridges, they literally just added a little side thing to them. And here's the manual. That is so lackluster these days anymore. You just open it and that's it. No pictures, nothing. They really wanted to make it economical and try and fit in the cases, I think. But that's the back and the new starters at the time, which at first everyone was hating on Chespin. And I started with Fennekin at first, but then this game here, I started with Chespin. Best decision ever. Oh my god, I freaking love Chestnut now. That is one of my favorite starters. Froakie, forget it. It's pretty much everyone's favorite. Sorry, but it just... It's not as good as the other ones, in my opinion. It's just, it can hit, but it can't take a hit. So there's Pokemon X there. And that's without the Torchic event in there. So it's a little bit more loose. And then we have Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which were the remakes for 3rd Gen there. And these games were actually quite awesome, but still not up to par as to how awesome these two were. But I still enjoyed them nonetheless, and they added pretty much everything to the back of the case. They made it super lazy mode. And this is your viewing the electronic manual for the 3DS now. But that is the game cartridge for Alpha Sapphire. And Omega Ruby here. It's the same thing. So, I do love these games though. I like them, but not as much as Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Next, we'll get to the final generation, which would be Gen 7. Okay, I had to bring the games out of my Nintendo my DS case, because they were in there just because I wanted to show you what the games looked like. But this is what Pokemon Sun and Moon were. And I also brought out Ultra Moon out of the DS because it was in my DS. The only one in the case here is Ultra Sun. I haven't even touched that game yet. But there's the inside. Literally, this is the manual now. These are pretty much the manuals. Laziness at its best. You don't even get a freaking manual for the newest games anymore. They're not even, nothing's on the back, nothing. So, Sun and Moon, let me also bring up the fact that by the time I was getting Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I was able to pay for my games finally because I had a job. So, I have bought both versions and both copies of each game since Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, brand new, the day the games came out. And that's the same for Sun and Moon here and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And it's also going to be the same for the Nintendo Switch games. It's just that they're going to be $60 each now instead of $40 each. So I'm going to be paying more for them, but I will be getting them on day one. So these are the games from 2016. All new Pokemon. I started out with Popplio, by the way. Everyone that was all anti-Team Popplio, screw you guys. But here's the inside here. You had an ad for the Z-Ring Bracelet Z. Whatever. Your Pokebank and everything. So, I'm not going to put these back, but that's how they went into the games. But there's the back of that one. And there's Sun, which I started out with Moon first just because they said it was going to be different. And it is. It's completely backwards. It's actually really cool. And then Ultra Moon here. I like these games, but at the same time, we were just getting used to Mega Evolutions, and then they throw these Alolan themed Pokemon, and I just got threw off by it. I'm not hating these generations by any means. I think it's cool and innovative that they got rid of the gyms and they made these trials. I really liked that concept. I also liked going to different islands and finding different Pokemon. That was cool. I just don't like what they did with the Mega Evolutions and completely ditched it for Alolan themes. I really can't grasp that concept, and I get some people would be like, well, you're an old Gen 1 or blah, 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 blah. No, it's just the fact that you go from one thing to another too quickly. We didn't even get a remake for Gen 6. We just got X and Y. We didn't get, like, Z. We didn't get, like, whatever they could have came up with that was clever enough to be called for the remake for X and Y. I was kind of looking forward to it because a lot of people put hate to X and Y. I liked it. I really wish they would have put a remake for it. So that's kind of where I'm at with these games, is I like them, but I think they jump too quickly to these games. So I'm kind of anxious to see what they're going to do on the Switch. So that's where I'm at with these new Pokemon games. And yeah, now let me fan these all out so I can show you what all the games look like with the complete set now that we are going to be moving to main console this year. This is the last games that you guys are going to be seeing for Nintendo handhelds for Pokemon games. So this is what it looks like with a complete Pokemon set. Now granted, I am missing a player's choice of Fire Red. And I have like an extra of Platinum, as I said, extras of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. But for the most part, I have all of the Pokemon series complete. From Pokemon Red to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and catch you later whenever I can make another video. Hopefully this will help you guys with lack of videos. So, I'll see you guys.